All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to ARMBAR. With us today is MiketheBiz, and of course, over here, pointing the wrong way, we have Mr. Juan Cena, aka 7-Star Jaime Cena, over here.
Yeah, you guys didn't change that from the last time that we had a show, which was a while back. I guess we were just messing around and eventually just stuck with it. So
I can actually let me see. I think you can change it yourself, actually. All right,
yeah,
Mr.
no,
Hansina.
just keep it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I can mess with your name, actually. I think you're the one that has to. Oh, okay, I can. Here we go. Here we go. I'm just gonna put 7-Star. Hold on, let me do that really quick.
All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna put 7-Star. There you go. So, thanks for joining in, everyone. I know this is more of a late show, more than what we usually do, at least. So, thanks for joining in tonight. This is Thursday, March the 18th, 2021. So, it's just gonna be me and Jaime tonight. You're used to seeing Jay, the rock star, and of course, Mr. Tony Matuk. Tony's been out for a while. I hope everything's going good for him. Jaime, it's just gonna be me and the newbie, basically, I guess. The newbie. So no, I mean, we haven't done Armbar in a minute, so let's go ahead and let's talk about what's been happening with the show and what the things we've done recently as far as anything in the wrestling world, and we'll get into what you want to talk about, which is NWA and of course the upcoming TWL events, as well as the next RGV sports show. So let's rewind a little bit, right? Let's talk about March 6th and 7th. So March 6th was actually the last RGV sports show, so we actually really got to enjoy that. It was a event held at the Casa de Palmas Hotel, right, in McAllen, Texas, and the features for us, there was of course there was different guests at the event, but the feature for me and the boys here was Carlito and Gangrel, right? You obviously got to meet Gangrel and do a pretty decently long one-on-one interview, and of course
I tried.
Yeah, me and Jay, and I was just kind of awkwardly standing next to Carlito in the interview. And you know what the funny part about that is, I did have a few questions lined up, but then Jay kind of just wrapped it up, so I was just like, well, that's fine, go ahead and just finish it off. I'll just fix the edit or whatever like that, or
if you also think about it too, there was a long line for Carlito as well.
It was loud in there, first of all. So
trust me. The reaction the following day for Gangrel was pretty funny too. So Gangrel got to meet his number one fan.
That's what I heard.
But as soon as she saw Gangrel enter into the room, she legit just screamed out of excitement.
I completely bet. I mean, for people that are hardcore fans. Whoa, hello. Echoes. You okay? Are you having audio?
Yeah, hang on.
Hold on, let me go ahead and see if I can share this while we're working out the audio issues. I think Jaime is on a headset, that's why. Where's your gaming headset? Where is your gaming headset, senor? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, while Jaime's getting his audio fixed, I'll go ahead and share this in post, or I'll share the video on my Facebook feed. And right now we are streaming on YouTube, by the way, as well. So if you guys follow us on YouTube, you can be watching us there at armbar_RGV. So those are our media channels so far. Okay, I guess Jaime left. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's get
all right, I'm back. Sorry,
he's back.
I was getting weird phone calls, so I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. Are you on your phone or on your PC or what?
I'm on my phone. I'm doing this on my phone.
Okay. Okay, I got you. I have a little bit of a better setup here with my webcam and my microphone and everything like that. Not to say it's better, but I mean you're doing what you can there. So
sorry, we can't all have a cool setup like you.
It costs a lot of money, but anyways.
Exactly.
Anyways,
but yeah, the basically the atmosphere for Gangrel was also amazing as well. There was a pretty long line as well for him the next day, because unfortunately you and Jay weren't able to make it because of reasons. So it was a great show. Yeah. It was a great show. Really cool guy. Really cool, down to earth guy. It's like if you're having a conversation with your long lost best friend. He didn't really shorten answers or anything. He went into detail. I mean, if you guys want after the show or whenever, you guys can catch the interview on our ARMBAR YouTube page and also the ARMBAR.
Yeah, maybe we can replay a
well.
little bit. Maybe we can replay a little bit of that coming up, just so that people can watch. Again, if people are watching live, again, don't forget to smash the like button on Facebook, and again, don't forget to smash the like button on YouTube as well. So, I mean, it helps out the algorithms over here, guys.
It was, I mean, honestly, and I want to say a couple weeks after the interview, I know that we were all discussing about it and whatnot, and the question arose to me, like, was I nervous? Obviously, I was. Like anybody else, I was nervous. Only the only reason why is because it was my first interview. It was my first
solo interview. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but everything after that will be super easy. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it was good, man. Like, honestly, like your intro was a little bit, little nerve wracking, but you're not used to that. You're used to either me, Jay, or even Tony, hyping it up and starting it off. So, I mean, it's something that, hey, if you ever want to do it in the future, let me know, and we'll let you introduce the podcast or whatever. You know what I mean? Me personally, like I do YouTube outside of the ARMBAR podcast here. So I'm used to starting intros and saying hi to everyone and just whatnot. You know what I mean? I have like formats already kind of laid out in my head. You know what I mean? On what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's really not difficult. Scripting, I mean, you can literally script like an entire 30-minute show with like literally like bullet points. So, don't even sweat it, man. And anytime you do an interview, just, think of those bullet points that you want to ask the person. Don't get too much into detail. And then from there, I mean, I thought you did a great job overall though. Like, it was maybe a 5 or 6 star rating, but you know what I mean? It wasn't a 7-star, but you're just going to get better, man. So it looks like we have Mr. Adán de Anda the third, who I believe he got to meet Gangrel also, if I'm not correct on that, right?
No, he wasn't there, and he says he feels left out.
Oh, he wasn't there? Well,
No.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm sure he had other priorities, right? So, I mean, for sure, man, I mean, there's going to be another show in July, Mr. Adán. Again, we're going to hype that up a little bit later. 0 stars. What a hater. At least smash the like button for us over here, Adán.
But yeah, I mean, it was a great show. Carlito also, it was great. We
Carlito's super humble, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's
super
really
humble.
Cool.
Yeah, he was really cool. He was literally cool. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was a nice place. I kid you not, I was asked if we do parties.
Wait, ARMBAR?
Yeah.
What?
Reason. Well, here's the backstory. The reason why is because the individual, she was trying to look up, wrestlers to do like some sort of wrestling event for her boyfriend, for his birthday. So she wanted to set up like a wrestling event there. I'm not quite sure if I gave her the right information. So if you're out there and probably watching this, I'm sorry if I misinformed you on some stuff. I don't know.
He was just BSing you.
No, I mean, I again, I try to help out people the best I can, with the most knowledge that I could. People obviously were there taking pictures with our belts because yes, he did take your United States Championship belt as well.
On Saturday. I wasn't there Sunday, so you were probably solo on Sunday with a real empty table.
No, I had flyers. Remember that? I had flyers too.
Yeah, I remember you had the flyers. Yeah.
Most people were asking us to if we were sending our titles as well.
Yeah. A lot of people were asking if. To be honest, I probably would have sold it if someone made a good enough offer. Honestly, that belt brand new is about $429 plus tax. So I think the least it was. I mean, I had barely taken it out a couple of times, so brand new. I probably would have at least let it go for at least $350 probably, but no one really made me an offer. So I was just like, okay, whatever. And there was a couple of people that made some stupid comments that were there at the event that I'm not gonna discuss. Here's some guy with a green shirt from what I remember, but I mean, anyways, no, I'm just bashing. But yeah, for the most part, it was a fun event. Definitely the venue. I wish it was a little bit bigger. Especially with Corona season around. I know the next venue is going to be a lot bigger, and we'll go ahead and get into that a little bit later on in the show, right? But for the most part, that venue, I know the promoter Danny and his buddy, they had minimal time to find a place to do that. So if you guys are planning to go to the next RGV Sports Show with the next guest, then I guarantee you the next event room will be a lot bigger than what we had.
Before I left that day
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday, he told me, "Hey, the next event's gonna be a lot bigger," and that was his vision. He wanted bigger with bigger guests, and the guests that we found out today, it's really appropriate for it. And it's gonna be great once we announce it later on. But let's go ahead and start talking about some wrestling.
Let's talk about some wrestling. Go ahead and open up with NWA. I'm not too keen on following NWA. I know it's on YouTube. I know Billy Corgan owns it, and I know that their champion is married to I don't know if he's
Mickey
married
James.
or if he's. I'm sorry. He's married to Mickey James. Correct. So I know it's Nick Adolis, right? That's his name.
Yeah. So after a couple months because of COVID, after a couple months of not having any shows, they had NWA Power kind of paused it because of the pandemic, and they had some circus show with NWA, but also paused it because of the pandemic. They are back. This weekend will be the first pay-per-view back, and it'll be available through the Fight TV app. The event is called Back for the Attack.
Pretty cool event name.
I know, and so far there's 6 cards announced. After that, on this coming Tuesday, it'll also be their return. NWA Power is also going to be returning. So
NWA Power, yes.
So the cards already announced basically will be as follows. The NWA National Championship will be on the line. The defending champion Trevor Murdoch will be defending his title against Chris.
That's a familiar name.
Chris Adonis, and if you don't remember who Chris Adonis is, he is formerly known as Chris Masters. Another match that was also announced.
Who knew that guy was still wrestling? Actually,
yeah. Obviously he's still good friends with Carlito. He's friends with a lot of people and soon.
I'm sure he's still talking to a lot of buddies from that generation of wrestlers that came out from that era, which I would say it was the mid 2000 era between 2005 and 2010, basically. You know what I mean? Yeah. That class of wrestlers.
Yeah, basically it was the aftermath of the ruthless aggression era, entering into the PG era type of situation. The next match also announced is Tyrus versus Jr Kratos Cyrus. He was in WWE as Brodus Clay.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg's former bodyguard.
I thought he was done with wrestling, actually. I thought he was just acting now.
No, he had finished wrestling for a while. He went into Fox, doing political talk and whatnot, but then he
was doing a talk show. I remember that.
Yeah, he decided to go back into wrestling. So I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken, possibly his first match back into wrestling. Also, another championship on the line is the NWA World Television Championship. Elijah Burke, the defending champion, will be defending against Tom Latimer. Also, another match that will determine the number 1 contender for the NWA Women's Championship. Remember, the current champion right now is AEW's very own Serena Deeb. So the 2 challengers that might become number 1 contender is either Thunder Rosa, and she will be taking on Camille, who is Chris Adonis, or not Chris, Nick Aldis, former bodyguard. She's very athletic for a woman her size. So it's going to be a very good matchup between 2. There is a scheduled fatal 4-way match between Crimson, Jack Stain, and 2. Well, one is debuting and another one's
in case you're wondering,
sorry. Yeah, no, sorry.
It's going to be Jordan Clearwater, and Slice Boogie. They're all going to be competing in a fatal 4-way, and I believe the main event match of the night will be for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The defending champion Nick Aldis will be defending his championship against Aaron Stevens, one half of the NWA World Tag Team Champions. Aaron Stevens, this match, the reason why it's on is because last month we found out that the question mark who passed away. We weren't sure of what, but they were, he was someone he was someone big in the wrestling business. Due to his unfortunate passing, they're gonna go ahead and dedicate this match.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy that we're losing these wrestlers at such young ages. You know what I mean? Brody Lee prior to him. You know what I mean? It's fortunately, it's like you don't ever know when you're gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a solid card. It's gonna be this Sunday. It's gonna be live from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
GPB Studios.
Yeah, I feel like I would probably be invested into the women's title match just because Serena Deeb has been killing it. You know what I mean? And she had a few great matches with Thunder Rosa on AEW after she won the championship. You know what I mean?
But she's never faced anyone against Camille as well. Don't discount Camille also, because I feel like Camille can also be a future NWA World Women's Champion.
For sure.
If not now, then possibly later. But I feel like her time is now, and she can more than likely be able to defeat. She can more than likely defeat Serena Deeb, but in order for her to be able to do that,
it's like you're upsetting the big dog over here. By the way, upsetting the big dog.
She has to defeat Thunder Rosa, who's an obstacle to be able to go ahead and get to the champion. Another event, going into this weekend is WWE Fastlane as well, which will be live.
Yeah, which reminds me, I have to sign up for the Peacock Network now, I think, because I think this is WWE Network's last pay-per-view. So
yes, so this is for the month of March. To my understanding, it's the last month for the WWE Network. Right as of today, it is the first day of Peacock TV with WWE Network content on it. I took a browse earlier today. I mean, it looks really nice. Not everything.
I need to take a look. Yeah.
Not everything's in there right now.
It's going to be a big transition because literally, it's like its own network. You know what I mean? So my question to you, since you've already kind of looked at it, is like, is it integrated into Peacock's interface, or is there like a specific section where you go and have to sign in separately onto that, or do you just have to be signed up for Peacock in general?
You have to sign for Peacock in general to be able to get it. So right now,
I know there's a promotion.
There is a promotion.
It's only $250.
So right now, usually it is $4.99. If you want to get it with ads, which is like the cheaper version, or if you want to pay WWE Network price, you basically get less ads.
You're still going to get ads no matter what, I think.
But it's not going to be as much as before.
For the $5 one, though, do we get all the pay-per-views, or is it just like
either or? When you sign up for it, you get the pay-per-views no matter what. It's like
I think I'm going to do the $5 one. That to me, like, because honestly, I really don't watch any of the network exclusives anymore. You know what I mean? So, and I the only really reason why I used to watch the network was for NXT, and ever since NXT was brought back to the USA Network, I just really haven't had any type of commitment of watching the WWE Network as far as the Broken Skull sessions, which. Stone Cold will have his interview, and of course the Undertaker series, which that one was pretty amazing. So
this week, and also Stone Cold sit down interview with Randy Orton.
Yes,
that was a good one.
That's gonna be a good one.
So Peacock TV. It's not only just WWE. You can also watch shows like Modern Family, Parks and Rec, The Office. If you're an Office fan, you get all these.
I'm sure you can watch House on there also. Dr. House, MD.
Probably, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be all. It's gonna be all of like NBC Universal's content, and anything that's like owned by NBC and CBS, basically, and their affiliates. You'll probably see a lot of their shows go on there. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, there's gonna be a lot of good stuff. I'm not gonna complain about it too hard. I just really don't want to. I don't know. I guess we'll have to
Overpaid.
see how much. Yeah, I don't want to overpay, but then again, I've been paying $10 a month for the last 4 or 5 years since the network came out in 2014, I believe.
It came out. The first pay-per-view that they had was WrestleMania 30.
I think it was WrestleMania 30, and that was like the first. And that was like, I remember watching that live at home and I was like, man, this feels so good to only pay $10 for a pay-per-view rather than have to go sit at Buffalo's at the time, which, at the time, I would enjoy that back in the day. Now I look back on that and I'm just like, wow, like, I wish I could do that now, you know what I mean? With the whole pandemic going on, it's like not a thing anymore. But the fact that you can just, turn on your TV. Back then, I think I was running it on my Xbox because they only had the platform on a few specific apps, so you could download it like on your PlayStation. I think it was PS3 back in the day, and then of course your Xbox One or PS4 or whatever. And then from there, again, you started seeing it show up on smart TVs, and then of course like Roku devices, etc., like that. And of course, if you had a laptop or that type of connection, you could just connect it to your TV straight out and just go to wwe.com/network for how much, Jaime?
For $9.99.
$9.99, yes. Damn straight, Michael. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Fastlane. I guess I'm probably going to sign up for Peacock after we get off the stream here. I would do it live, but I mean, I don't want to give away any information. So that'll be interesting. So NWA Powers pay-per-view, and then we have, of course, Fastlane, which, WWE, of course, it's been on an interesting trajectory since the Royal Rumble. Of course, Edge winning the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble, and of course, the female winner. I was going to say Nia Jax. It's not Nia Jax. It's Bianca Belair, though, who, of course, will be fighting Sasha Banks for the. So basically, both winners of the Rumble will be fighting SmackDown opponents, basically. So they basically chose SmackDown as the A show. And if you think about it, I think that's really what WWE had to do, because Fox, I believe, is probably paying them a lot more to kind of outshine their stars than the USA Network, right? So I think that's what Vince is doing there, and I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I'm obviously excited to see Edge, get an opportunity. Some people might not agree with me, right? Edge, obviously, again, is in somewhat of a three-way feud right now with him, Roman Reigns, and of course Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan will face Roman Reigns this weekend at Fastlane for the Universal Championship. And of course, let me get this comment out there since nobody's comment. And of course, we're going to have a set of other matches. I don't really know too much about the card, honestly. I'm not too much invested in the card, to be honest. I don't know if you got anything there on your end. I just know that's going to be the main match for me, though.
Well, I mean, like you said, there's other matches here on the card. I have it right in front of me. It'll be the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship on the line. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the defending champs, will be taking on Sasha and Bianca Belair. Nia and Shayna, obviously, they won at the Royal Rumble after a distraction between Charlotte and Lacey Evans. So they ended up winning. Now there's feud going on, and kind of like how Kevin Owens said it, if Sasha and Bianca win, it's going to be pretty much the second time where tag team champions go into WrestleMania, but they take on the main title, which would be the SmackDown Women's Tag Team, or not the SmackDown Women's, the SmackDown Women's Championship. The last time tag team champions did that was back in 2007 when it was Shawn Michaels and John Cena as the World Tag Team Champions, and they face each other for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 23. Stellar match. It was a great match that night. So Shawn Michaels wanted to show John Cena that he's the best in business. Unfortunately, he lost, which later on kind of shattered their partnership, and just both of them went their separate ways after losing tag titles. As you mentioned earlier, Roman Reigns will be defending his Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan. But tomorrow night on SmackDown, we're gonna go ahead and see who will be the special guest enforcer as Edge makes his return to a SmackDown ring after
that'll be interesting. 10, 11 years? I think he retired in 2009. So yeah, it's been 10 plus years since he's actually had like a regular, SmackDown or Raw type match. You know what I mean? And
I mean, he's competed like twice on Raw
Yeah,
already. So this is his first time, since his injuries, he's come back. I mean, even last year, competing on SmackDown, and he's gonna be taking on Jey Uso. As mentioned, the winner will be the special guest enforcer of that match.
I mean, my thing on that is, I definitely hope that Edge can stay healthy, you know what I mean? Just because, I mean, obviously he's, injury prone a little more towards his age here. I hate to say that, right? But ever since he came back, he already unfortunately got taken out once due to an injury, which hopefully, he's strengthening his muscles and body parts to avoid these little injuries, right? But it just kind of makes you think, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he should have stayed retired, perhaps, you know what I mean? Or is this something that I mean, obviously he's going to be in it for the long haul. Like, I know, like, Edge is one of those guys where he lives, eats, and breathes wrestling, and you can tell, like, even after he retired the first time, like all the stories that, led him to be an 11-time champion. It's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, he definitely was one of those guys growing up where it's like, you go to school with him and that's all he talks about is wrestling. And, he has wrestling, bed sheets, he has wrestling themed parties, you know what I mean? Like, he's one of those guys.
Basically, in other words, Edge is one of us.
He's So, I mean, for the most part, like, it's very admirable for a fan like me to kind of see his comeback story and watch that. But I'm just interested to see. Like, I definitely think it's going to be Edge, who is the special enforcer this weekend at Fastlane, and then we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be to the point, like, and this is just my prediction, right? Let's go ahead and talk about predictions here. I'm not talking about the who's going to win the match, but I think at some point, Daniel Bryan or someone he's gonna end up kneeing Edge in the face or something like that. Something's gonna happen where Edge gets taken out of the match, and of course, like, it's gonna end up as a triple threat at WrestleMania. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. Like, they're leading it up to that. I just know it is. I mean, if it doesn't, then wow, like, I'm gonna lose a lot of money there. I would lose money against myself, right? But I just think, man, I would love to see Daniel Bryan versus Edge just solo, just by themselves. But I mean, to throw Roman Reigns in the mix and have all three of them, you know what I mean? It's just going to be an epic triple threat match. And if you guys follow like famous triple threat matches, like the most recent one that I can remember that was like amazing, obviously, was the triple threat female women's championship match at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, which was, again, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and of course, what was it? Bailey? No, is that
no,
Ronda Rousey? Ronda Rousey. How could I forget Ronda Rousey? Right? Sorry, I'm like, there's so many wrestlers nowadays. And then again, prior to that, you had Daniel Bryan versus Triple H versus was Randy Orton, I believe, or no? Sorry, it was Daniel Bryan, Batista, and Randy Orton. Yeah, that was WrestleMania 30. And then prior to that, you had Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. So WrestleMania has been very well known to put out very amazing triple threat main events. You know what I mean? Those are probably, to me, some of the most exciting events that you can watch at one of those pay-per-views. You know what I mean? Just because anything can happen, and the champion does not need to be pinned to lose the championship. You know what I mean? Which is even crazier. So it kind of sucks, though, because, again, that's how Drew McIntyre lost his championship, I believe, a while back at. So, I mean, it's just one of those deals where, okay, champion doesn't have to be pinned. So even if he doesn't lose, technically the title can go to somebody else. So that's going to be definitely interesting. But let's pull it forward to the Raw side just a little bit, right? Because I want to kind of go to Raw, and let's talk about what's happening on Monday Night Raw. Even though I know that might be a bore for some people, Bobby Lashley is now your new WWE champion, and he pinned the Miz. The Miz of all people, which, no disrespect to the Miz, you know what I mean? I think the Miz worked very hard to get to where he was, and they give him so much airtime, and, he knows how to get under people's skin, and he's really a true heel if you think about it in the business. And for sure, like, I knew they were going to put the title on him. I really thought the title was going to stay on his shoulders at least until WrestleMania. I was really hoping that we're going to build something with him versus either Bobby Lashley or something. It would have been cool if they would have had like two triple threat matches, like Miz is the champion going in, right? With Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. And of course, people thinking Drew McIntyre was going to win, but no, maybe Bobby Lashley throws out the upset, you know what I mean? And then wins the championship. I really would have preferred watching that, you know what I mean? But I mean, for the way they did it, I really didn't have a problem with how Lashley won his championship, you know what I mean? Where, the Miz was kind of running around backstage with his, tail between his legs, hiding from him the entire time. And then finally they got him in the ring. He beat him within minutes, you know what I mean? And in that lumberjack match, and it was just expected, you know what I mean? So definitely, I think it's a championship that was long overdue. Lashley has been back for the last 3-4 years already in WWE. So they've put they've put a couple belts on him since then. I mean, I was kind of disappointed because when he came back originally, his momentum was pretty high, and then of course they threw him back down to the lower / mid card. And of course, again, he's won the Intercontinental Champion. That white strap Intercontinental title looked great on him. The guy looks like a champion all the time, right? And then, of course, most recently the U.S. Championship, which to me it made a little bit of sense that he won the championship, the WWE title, but I didn't like how he lost the United States title and then he literally won the WWE Championship a couple weeks later, not even a few weeks later, after using the United States title to the Bro. I'm sure Jay will watch this later on, right? To the Bro. The bro maniac over here. I was gonna say Matt Riddle. Yeah, they just call him Riddle now. But anyways, it's interesting, and the Hurt Business, if you think about it, has had a great year. Bobby Lashley, a WWE champion. You have Cedric Alexander, and of course MVP, and then I was gonna say the other guy. I'm blanking out here. Shelton Benjamin. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm bad with names here. Yeah, Shelton Benjamin, they were tag team champions, and of course they just lost them, unfortunately. Who did they lose them to, though?
They lost them to the 11-time tag team champions, the New Day.
Crazy, right? I mean, I sometimes I feel like they're always underdogs in the tag team division because they put the belts on them so much. You know what I mean? What's up, Latrell Jennings, Inc., etc.? What's up? Just talking about some wrestling here. Getting a little bit of nastiness.
I mean, they've been very dominant, and I've had this discussion with Jay the other day. I didn't really like the fact that Lashley won the title now. I would have had a good feel to it, at Mania, like you said. But at the same time, the reason why they did it is because obviously, one, the ratings, and two, the money. If they would have left the title on Miz and had him defend the title at Mania, he wouldn't have been able to. We're talking about Bobby Lashley and the Miz and Wrestlemania right now.
We're talking about Monday Night Raw, Mr. Latrell. Thanks for joining in today, by the way. Don't forget to smash the like button on YouTube and on Facebook.
So I mean, if they would have kept it with the Miz, it wouldn't have done good. I can guarantee you, because
I mean, obviously they had to pull the title off the Miz. I mean, he's not to bash on Miz, he's had his moments in the company, right? But he is not a main draw when it comes to these type of events. You know what I mean?
Look at WrestleMania 27. I literally, honestly, I had not seen that match between John Cena and the Miz.
I remember watching it. I think he retained against Cena. He
retained. So
yeah, he retained.
That's the thing. So here's the thing. People don't remember him retaining the belt.
Yeah.
What do people remember?
They remember The Rock. Yeah, and they remember
The Rock. They remember The Rock giving John Cena the rock bottom. They remember The Rock giving the Miz the rock bottom and I believe the people's elbow. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that people remember from WrestleMania 27 on that main event, because The Rock went in and just stopped the match after it was a double count out.
Yeah.
He went to restart the match. No disqualification, no count out, nothing. It's everything goes. And it was just over in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So that's why honestly, when I remember watching the promos for the Miz and John Cena, again, the whole thing was overshadowed.
It was a throwaway match. If you think about it, it was a throwaway match for that pay-per-view, and I'm pretty sure they were focusing on the World Heavyweight title at the time for the main event for that specific pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Again, I literally need to go back and watch that.
They were mainly focusing on just The Rock, the camera being on The Rock. That was it. That was the whole event.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So
again, He's not a bad actor. He's. I mean, yeah, you know, it's kind of hard to say anything mean about the guy when he's been there, done that, done everything.
Done a lot. He's done everything that you can do in this business. I mean, I got to give major props to the Miz. You know what I mean? He has a beautiful wife, beautiful children, and you know he's held every single championship that you can carry in the company. You know what I mean? Whether you know he's the draw or not. You know what I mean? I mean that's something about him, that he's one of those guys that you know that busts his ass. He busts his ass to get where he wants to be, and he doesn't have to be the best. You know, I mean, if I can commend the Miz on one thing, it's getting heat and big time heat. You know what I mean? He knows how to draw a. You know, he knows how to work the crowd. Now it sucks that the crowd hasn't been there. You know, but he knows how to work the crowd. He knows how to piss off his opponents. And again, he's not injury prone. He really has never ever been out to the point where like he has to have major surgery. Yeah. You know, a lot of people complain that he doesn't have a very, you know, interesting style of wrestling. He's not much of a grappler or a technical wrestler, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, his body of work shows, you know, an 8-time Intercontinental champion, multiple time tag team champion, multi-time US championship, and now multi-time you know, Grand Slam champion, if you think about it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So again, he's literally the only one that can say that.
he's a 2-time Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of hard to find someone with that same feat, you know, and you know, now that we're talking about, you know, the WWE title and WrestleMania, you know, we already know who's going to WrestleMania with the WWE championship, but also we found out this past Monday night who's challenging Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship, and it's going to be Drew McIntyre.
I mean, I kind of didn't like that. I wish they would have had like some sort of tournament or something that kind of led up to that. I feel like they just kind of gave it to him. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, and honestly,
not to say that he's not deserving. Okay.
I mean, I agree with you. You know, they could have at least had a tournament, but here's
like
the thing:
a gauntlet match or something like that.
And you're right. But here's the thing.
Is back there.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
You only have about 3 weeks left until WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of hard to cram, and it's also bad timing too with the pay-per-view too, because once the pay-per-view's over, they're only gonna have 2 weeks to fill in, you know, whatever they can for Mania, because Mania is gonna be a two-night event again this
Which
year.
Is crazy because they're actually doing it at the stadium this year again. You know what I mean?
They're gonna do it at the stadium.
How are they going to work that? You know what I mean? I guess they're going to. I mean, luckily fans. I mean, I know they're only going to be filled up to like 35 or 36% capacity, right? At WrestleMania this year. But my question is, okay, like I mean, that's pretty cool though, because I mean, it gives people that can't get tickets the first day an opportunity to go the second day. You know what I mean? So, and you're going to have 2 different main events for each, you know, show. Like I remember last year, of course, you know, the match of the 2 events was Taker versus AJ Styles. You know what I mean? Like, even though it was a cinematic match and that was Undertaker's final farewell match, none of us knew, right? But it was one of those deals where it's like, man, I think that was on the first show, wasn't it? It wasn't even on the second show.
That was on the first show.
On the first show. It was the main event of the first show. So.
And the main event of the second night was Drew McIntyre defeating Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and to be honest, like that wasn't, I mean, not to bash on Drew McIntyre or Lesnar or anything like that. That match was not exciting at all. And again, like I'm glad that they're doing like the fake fan filters now and all that, you know, because at least that kind of gives the show some sort of substance, you know what I mean? Because hearing those fans boo and cheer in the background, even if they're fake, you know, applauds and whatnot, you know.
I'm gonna tell you this, it's a lot better because I mean Jay, myself, pretty sure Don and other people have seen how Impact has theirs. Impact and it makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
They don't have a crowd whatsoever, but they add the audio to it.
Yeah.
And it's like who's booing? Who's cheering? No one's there.
They didn't even have like the fake people.
Yeah, I mean it makes 0 sense whatsoever. So I mean, Drew McIntyre, as you mentioned earlier, you know, he's challenging Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship, because I mean, Drew pretty much said, "Hey, you haven't beaten me for the title."
It's true. And you know, I mean, if you look back at 2020, he was the guy for 2020, right? And of course, early this year as well, you know what I mean? So, So I mean, I guess I can't take that too much away from him. It's just really not a match or draw that I'm caring to see right now. But I mean, I'm hoping it's a good match. Lashley definitely has been a force to be reckoned with in the past couple of years already. I mean, he's definitely deserved that spot. You know what I mean? He's getting his WrestleMania moment. He might not be winning the championship at WrestleMania, but he's going in as the championship and defending and hopefully retaining the title. You know what I mean? I think it would be big if he ended up still, holding on to that championship post WrestleMania. And
before Drew McIntyre takes on Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, this weekend he takes on Sheamus at Fastlane. The last time they fought each other, they literally just beat the crap out of each other. I think it was a no disqualification match. Both their backs were just red.
Oh yeah, these matches between Sheamus and even Bobby Lashley, and of course Drew McIntyre, they've been super physical. Like the main event on Raw this past week, that was a physical match. You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed that match. I think I didn't get to see much of Raw, but I remember watching that match, and man, they just body blows left and right. Two big 270-pound men just going at it. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because 10 years or 20 years ago, I mean, it's a lot different than what it is now. These guys are like hybrids, man. You know what I mean? The way they're built, and don't get me wrong. Like back in the Attitude Era, you had like Stone Cold versus The Undertaker, but it was always like there was always one huge guy and then one like kind of little guy.
There was always a size difference. In other words,
there was always a big size difference. But these guys are like evenly matched. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like Vince is kind of taking the UFC approach, if you think about it, right? Especially in this main event of WrestleMania. And, putting pretty much two evenly statistically, guys out there, both have, bunches of accolades in the company as is already. You know what I mean? I mean, really, the WWE Championship is just a plus, right? But seeing these two like behemoths go at it, it's just gonna be crazy. I'm just so excited, Jaime.
and also, just want to go ahead and announce this
wrestling.
Last match on the card. So it's going to be Randy Orton taking on Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss
match. Reason being is because Alexa Bliss wants revenge on Randy Orton for pretty much burning down the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Since the last time we saw him was at TLC back in December. After that, Randy Orton's been having some crazy weird stuff happening.
Latrell says he loves Alexa Bliss, by the way.
Randy Orton's been either throwing up some black substance, or he's been talking to a demonic self or something. So in order for him to just stop all these shenanigans, Alexa Bliss pretty much challenged him to a match in which he said, fine, yeah, I'll do it, and once I do that, I'll go ahead and get rid of you from my life.
I feel like this is going to be some sort of like cinematic match, of course, you know what I mean, where like it's going to end up backstage or somewhere where she's going to lure him into somewhere, and we all kind of have the hint that Alexa Bliss is somewhat demonic or possessed by the Fiend's spirit, right? So I mean, or something to that extent. So I mean, I have a feeling that the Fiend will return before WrestleMania. I think this is leading up to that, right? And then from there, the return of Bray Wyatt as a repossessed version of himself or something like that. You know what I mean? Where his spirit comes back. She kind of just like pukes out his spirit or soul or something, something like that. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, it's been an interesting couple months with that storyline. Ever since again Randy Orton burned down Bray Wyatt, which an interesting pay-per-view. That ending of that pay-per-view was definitely 10 times better than the last AEW pay-per-views explosions, if you know what I mean. So so the whole fizzle, you know what I mean. Latrell's commenting on saying been following Alexa Bliss on Instagram for a good minute now. Oh yeah, me too, brother. By the way, so she is a beautiful woman. I'll tell you that much. Randy Orton is interesting. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with Randy Orton, and I mean, Latrell, by the way, he's one of my friends from YouTube, by the way, friend in real life, of course, as well. But his brother, he was telling me the other day, his brother is a big wrestling fan. Not so much him, but I know his brother goes to house shows, or he used to go to shows. And he showed me pictures, and I was like, yeah, dude. I was gonna tell him, tell your brother. Tell that I was gonna say, call your brother Mark and see what he says. See what he says. You know what I mean? Just say, hey, you're a big Mark. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Anyways, that was just an inside joke. Like for any wrestling fans, a mark basically just means you're a fan or you're someone that supports the business. Basically, that's what a mark means. Okay, so it's just in some ways it can be an insulting phrase. Like, but a lot of wrestlers use that term to talk about their fans. And of course, when we say I'm going to mark out, you know what I mean? That means that you're having a good time, you're excited, and that you're loving what's going on. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see where that leads. Again, it's not something that I care to see early, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna be Randy Orton versus The Fiend at WrestleMania. It kind of stinks that Randy Orton really isn't going in with like any momentum as far as like championships or anything like that. Though I would really love to see something like that, though.
Yeah. Also, now speaking of wrestling, still, if you're in the RGB, if you're the McAllen area, come Sunday.
The McAllen area.
On 10th Street, there's a wrestling event this coming weekend.
Wait, is that 10th Street? Or?
Yeah, it's going to be on 10th Street.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I get you. No, yeah.
There's going to be a wrestling event. So Wrestling Revolution proudly presents the Night of Champions. All championships are on the line this Sunday. For those of you, if you are interested in watching and supporting indie wrestling, they're going to be at Brewsome this Sunday. Doors open at 4. Bell times at 5 p.m. The address for the event is 1303 North 10th Street in McAllen, Texas. Tickets are sold online at Eventbrite, or they're still selling tickets at the physical location. Some of the matches announced for the event. Mind you, this is a social distancing.
This event. Is a sponsored ad, by the way.
Yeah, it's sponsored.
I'm a sponsored ad.
Just plugging these two wrestling promotions. Social distancing rules. They're gonna require all the fans to wear a mask.
Of course, naturally.
Against for safety for yourself and people around you, whether it's wrestlers, waiters, fans, friends, family, whoever. Just wear masks and social distance at the event, please.
I think the way they have it set up is like how the TWL had their event. They put like tables, or they have separate tables for like each little set of group of people that are out there. So of course, just be safe, wear your mask, social distance, and just have fun. Don't be stupid. You know what I mean? Just follow the rules.
So some of the matches announced, it's gonna be Alex Arsenault versus Spartan. Alex Arsenault was former Grand Warrior champion. They're gonna go ahead and compete for the Grand Warrior ammo box. And obviously
the money in the Money in the Bank briefcase, right?
Yes. The owner of the ammo box basically cashed in for a championship opportunity at any time, any place. They could cash it possibly that night. Chris Austin, the Grand Warrior champion, will also literally there are some wrestling events being hosted in McAllen and also in Edinburgh as well this coming weekend. The Grand Warrior champion, Chris Austin, will be defending his championship against DJX. DJX has been, just running roughshod and Danny's gonna kill me. Danny Chance Wrestling School, he's been just calling out Chris Austin and has been wanting to pick a fight. Another match, you're gonna be watching the debut of Aaron Harms as he goes up against the McAllen native Edgar Garza. It's gonna be a very physical match right there. It's gonna be a test of size, strength, speed.
And do you want to screen share what you're reading? By the way, you should be able to screen share. By the way,
no, it's fine.
I can pop it up, man.
No, it's fine. Okay. Also there's gonna be a 6-way matchup, one fall to the finish, and this will determine the number 1 contender for the Grand Warrior title as well. It's gonna be James Blackheart taking on Danny Chance, taking on Carlos Franco, taking on Downtown Felix, and also taking on Danny Ramones.
Danny Ramones, former
and
interviewee on Armbar, by the way. Shout out to Danny Ramones. I mean, I haven't seen that guy wrestle in a while, but I remember seeing him a couple of times at the Wrestling Revolution events at when they were still hosting them at Cena Ray, and the guy can draw a crowd, man. He can literally he has his fans, you know what I mean? And he is known as the juicy one for a reason, if you know what I mean.
And they're also going to be taking on a name that you're probably going to be familiar with, Joe Haas. Have you ever heard of that name?
Joe Haas? No, not really. I mean,
he is formerly known as Bandana Joe.
Bandana Joe.
Yep. So he's gonna be.
So he named his. He gave himself a rename on that, or what is Coven changing his name also over here, or what?
I don't know. Okay. Honestly, but I mean, 6 men competing for one.
That's interesting that he kind of. I thought he was out of wrestling actually, but that's interesting. I mean, Bandana Joe or just Joe. I mean, we've had him on the podcast. We've been able to see him wrestle live. It's been a while, right? But I mean, and again, you say what was his new in-ring name again?
Joe Haas.
Joe Haas. Okay, well, Mr. Joe Haas. I don't know. I don't think I have him on Facebook anymore. But I mean, like, definitely.
He's been very quiet on social media. To my understanding, he no longer has Facebook. However, he has been training. At Danny Chance's wrestling school as well.
That's fine. So I know my buddy Daniel Galvan, by the way, has been killing it at the wrestling school as well at New Breed. So shout out to you, Danny Galvan. I don't know if he's watching this, but big shout out to you, man. Former media buddies over here.
He's also wrestling too.
I'm kind of inclined to go watch this now because Danny. If it wasn't for Danny, if it wasn't for Danny, Armbar wouldn't be happening. Armbar would not exist if it was not for Danny Galvan. So
apparently Daniel Galvan has at the last Wrestling Revolution event, Daniel Galvan eliminated Rich Reason from the South Texas Rumble.
Oh wow.
So from what I understand is that Rich Reason, he was upset. Pretty much trespassed into Daniel Galvan's house and attacked him.
Let me see if I can find that, by the way, because I remember seeing that on Instagram. So I want to see if I can find that really quick. I know he did post that up. I do want to see if we can share the video or not on that. I don't know if it was just an Instagram feed video. No, I guess
it was. I think it was on their Facebook page.
Oh, okay. Wrestling Revolution or what?
Yeah, and also there's going to be a championship celebration, as I mentioned earlier. There was a South Texas Rumble to determine, and this was at the last event, heavyweights and heartbreaks. The winner of the South Texas Rumble would determine to become the new South Texas champion. So the new South Texas champion, El Naval, is going to have a championship celebration there. So pretty much go out there and celebrate with the new South Texas champion. See what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I can't find it. I mean, I remember seeing it on him or somebody else's page, but I'm just not finding it right now. But shout out to Danny, for getting into wrestling. He's not a big guy. You know what I mean? What's up, Danny? Shout out to this Danny also.
Danny Villarreal, shout out to you. We're also going to talk about.
Since Danny Villarreal is here, let's go ahead and make that announcement about the next RGV Sports Show and their main guest. Right? I'll go ahead and let you lead us in, and then I'll go ahead and play the video on that, Jaime.
So the next or the first guest announced, he is winner of the 1996 Olympics here in the U.S. He won Olympic gold. He's a he's won several world champions.
Multi-time world champion in different promotions.
Oh yeah. We're talking about Impact Wrestling. We're talking about WWE, WWE Championship and World Heavyweight Championship.
Wasn't he an IWGP World Champ also?
Yes,
Did he go to Japan?
he did compete for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and he lost it to Brock Lesnar, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go.
So our first guest, go ahead.
All right, let me go ahead and play the button here. See if you guys can hear it.
In case you're wondering, I, Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist and former WWE World Champion, would like the Rio Grande Valley to know that I will be at the RGV Sports Show on July 10th.
Whoop.
I'll be signing autographs and taking pictures. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
It's damn true.
It's damn true. There you go. Oh, I love the guitar music. July 10th, 2021. So let's go ahead and I'll kind of freeze frame that just so we can leave it there on the actual thing. But yeah, man, shout out to, first of all, Danny, who is the promoter of this event. Kurt Angle is a very big name. Not that none of the other names have been, big, but Kurt Angle, of course, definitely a former multi-time world champion. You know what I mean? A lot of people are going to want to meet Kurt Angle. So I'm very excited. This will be held at I believe the Mission Event Center, right?
It's going to be held at the Mission Parks and Rec
building, which I know that. Yeah, I was going to say that's like a new building, if I'm not correct on that, right?
So as I mentioned earlier, Danny's vision was to have a bigger event. I mean, obviously, we didn't know that the first day of the RGV Sports Show, it was going to be huge. That's why it was really packed. Second day, I mean, it was packed, but it wasn't too packed as the first day. So Danny said, hey, why not we hold the event at a bigger place? And why not have the biggest name in professional wrestling? Guy, I mean, as we mentioned, been there, done it. He's the be all end all, and he's also a Hall of Famer. Last time we saw him wrestle in a match was at Wrestlemania 35 against Baron Corbin, and that was his retirement match.
Maybe not the best of retirement matches, but I mean, his body of work doesn't need any explanation. You know what I mean? He's fought against all the greats: The Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Edge, Shawn Michaels. He's been in the ring with everybody. From WWE to Impact. He's fought against Sting. Jeff Hardy. Samoa Joe. AJ Styles, just the list goes on. There's not a guy like him that can say that that he's wrestled all of the legends and talent that he's been in the ring with. You know what I mean?
And I mean, he's obviously known worldwide. I mean, there's not one country. If you show a picture of him, there's not one country that can't say, oh, it's Kurt Angle. So it's something huge. He's going to be here July 10th. And as you mentioned, again, the RGV Sports Show as of right now is announced as a 2-day event, July 10th and July 11th. So once we get once we get all the information in regards to tickets, sales and all that, we'll go ahead and release it to the public.
I'm pretty positive that that we'll get that information from Danny, and then of course once the information's passed to us, we'll go ahead and share that with everyone. So again, this is going to be very hype, and again, I'm excited to hear what other guests he's going to bring in. Also, of course, like he's saying that the last event was more of a mini event, right? Of course, he lost the original venue, which was supposed to be in Edinburgh. And we had to kind of transition over to that, the Hotel Casa de los Palmas, which to me was still a very successful event. They even opened it up day 2 for it to be free. So the fact that they let everyone for free the second day, obviously, I mean, if you wanted to do meet and greets, you still had to pay for that, right? But the fact that they let in people for free the second day, that was great. That means they were very successful, on day 1 to begin with. So I'm very excited for this next event, Danny. Again, thanks for giving us the opportunity to go out there and do our thing. I know that we had a little bit of mic interference this last go around, but that won't be the case the next interviews that we get to lead up on the next show. So hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed that we all are able to get out there and do our thing. July 10th. I need to make sure I can get that day off. Oh, it's gonna be tough.
But also, he's not the only wrestler that's coming down to the RGV. This coming weekend, March 27th, we will see the return of the Machine, Brian Cage, as he will be, here in first, I believe he's going to be in Harlingen for Quinn Comics at a meet and greet. but he's also going to be at a Texas Wrestling League's event.
Let me see if I can
Brawl.
share the card on that one. Hold on. Let me see if I can go back here. Well, while you're talking about it, let's go ahead and I'll see if I can pop up that.
So there's multiple matches announced. We're also close to the inaugural Texas Wrestling League champion. El Naval is going to be taking on Richard Reason in the semifinals. In one bracket. Let me go ahead and see.
All right, I'll bring up some of their Facebook page over here. Let me get this back up really quick so we can get that going. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is not in any specific orders, right? This is what the event we're talking about, right? The Texas Spring Brawl,
yes.
right?
Jenna Lynn is also going to be taking on Maddie Rinkowski. Maddie has also been on AEW.
She's been on AEW Dark, yeah, multiple times. So she's very impressive. I'm definitely. I mean, I'm hoping I'm off, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. Of course, we got Danny Cherry Ramones versus looks like Chris Austin over here, right?
Yes, that's going to be the other semifinal bracket. So the winner of that match will take on either Richard Reason or El Naval. We're also going to have a tag team match between Danny Chance and Matt Riot as they take on the Cruz brothers. Also, let's see.
I don't have any more on the card. That's all in the discussion right there. But he says there's a video about it. I just need to find it. I think it's probably on Texas Wrestling League's page. So let's see if I can find that really quick. Looks like we got announced over there.
And also announced
there's any videos. Here we go.
Carlito will also be back. I mean, if you missed Carlito at the RGV Sports Show, don't worry. As mentioned, South Texas WrestleFest and Texas Wrestling League are excited to announce that they have signed Carlito for in-ring competition. Who's he going to be facing? Who's he going to be facing? Who knows? But one way to find out is, to make sure you follow the Texas Wrestling League Facebook page and also the South Texas WrestleFest and RGV Sports Facebook page as we get more information. So, I mean, that's really cool, to not only go and meet Carlito, but also watch him perform for in-ring competition.
Am I on the wrong page? Let's see. I don't know what's going on here. I know he says there's a video. I'm just not seeing anything right now. I know I'm probably just not late. If you want to directly link me and send it to me on Facebook over here, Danny, I'll go ahead and screen share it, man. I just can't find it right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't. But I mean, regardless, right? He's like, it's on my page, Facebook. Maybe I should just go to his main page over here and just see if it's on his wall. Hold on, let me see. Like, what's a wall, right? Okay, there's Kurt Angle. There's Brian Cage. Of course, congratulations on the wedding anniversary. Well, here. Okay, well, I think this is what he meant. Here's the actual card of everybody, right? So Spring Brawl, right? Of course, look at all these big names over here. Of course, Brian Cage will be a guest, right? Let's go through it again. He will be doing signings at I think there's Quinn's Comics in Harlingen, right? And then he will be over here at the event from 5 to 7. So that'll he'll be there again. Address is 123 East Palm Drive in Edinburgh, Texas. Again, you have Jenna Lynn and Maddie Rinkowski. You have Danny Cherry Ramones versus Chris Austin. You have Danny Chance and Matt Riot and versus the Cruz brothers for the tag championships. You have a TWL championship semifinals, Naval versus Richard Reason. Again, we have another match here set at Eric and Easy Night. I think that's how you say it, versus Vinny Wasco. And this one we got a Jeff Gant versus Malik Champion. Let me know if I'm saying that right. And of course, there's just the rest of the card there. But of course, Brian Cage will definitely be a big draw for those of you who are Impact fans. And of course, he has been with AEW for about a year already. He transitioned over right around before the pandemic. So, big shout out there to Brian Cage for coming down again. You know what I mean? And again, big shout out for Danny for bringing him down. Well, okay, hold on. I need to ignore the GIF, by the way, the little kid.
As mentioned,
Oh yeah, let me show that promo really quick that he's talking about. He did. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me zoom out. He did mention a Brian Cage video promo, so I'm gonna go ahead and post up that video really quick. Let me pause it and then I'll get it on full screen here and turn on.
What's up, guys? This Wolverine, that's machine, Mr. G, inside himself, Brian Cage, current AEW superstar, active champion, or this, that, whatever. I got a list of my along with accomplishments, resume, monikers, whatever. Anyways, to the important stuff. March 27th from 1 to 4 in Harlingen, Texas. I will be at Harlingen Quinn's Comics. I Quinn works there.
Mm-hmm.
Signing autographs, shaking hands, kissing babies, the whole 9 yards. The works. And then from 5 to 7 in Edinburgh at Texas Wrestling League Spring Brawl, I'll be doing the same thing before the show starts. So 2 chances to meet the machine. Don't miss out. And in case you don't answer the question, who better? Well, let me tell you. It's
nice.
Yeah, luckily we got to meet Brian Cage last year at the South Texas WrestleFest.
Very nice guy, by the way. Even though he's ginormous in stature, man, super,
yeah.
super nice guy. I mean, I believe I remember Tony talking to him as well. I think he used to live or work down here back in the day,
Yeah.
Back in the late '90s.
Yeah, I think he used to live here. That's why he's very familiar with the area.
Yeah.
So that's why he will come down occasionally.
I mean, it's pretty cool, you know what I mean? And of course, right now his body of work in AEW, he had that amazing, that match with Sting and Darby Allin, with his with the Taz boys is what I like to call them, right?
Yep.
And of course, definitely a guy that will probably most likely he will be world champion in AEW eventually. I don't know exactly when, right? But he's a guy that's he's former Impact heavyweight champion. He's definitely done a lot of things with Lucha Underground. You know what I mean? Very, very fun guy to watch in the ring. I definitely remember watching him in Lucha Underground, and of course his body of work in AEW. He's a big powerhouse. You know what I mean? He's a very big guy, but he's definitely a guy that he's one of those hybrid guys like that I was mentioning earlier, like Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, he's very built, but he can do it all in the ring. You know what I mean?
It's like watching a heavyweight do cruiserweight stuff. Yeah,
which is ridiculous. And you know what? That's because he hasn't really been doing a lot of that cruiserweight type stuff in AEW. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's just something that's just ice on the cherry if you think about it. One of these days he is going to just bust out like a freaking Hurricane Rana over here, or he'll do a swinging DDT or a spinneroonie DDT over here on something going on. But very nice guy again. We got to interview him last year at last year's South Texas WrestleFest. So I'm definitely excited to hopefully I don't think we're gonna interview him for this coming show, obviously, right? Or at least this event coming up, right? But definitely if you guys are fans of AEW and you guys want to meet a beast and a very nice guy, definitely go out to Quinn Comics in Harlingen, or if not, you guys can go to the Edinburgh event, the TWL event, March 27th, and again that will be at between 5 and 7 p.m. at East Palm Drive, I believe. So definitely, of course. There we go. Danny says he's a really cool guy, and he said, he's really cool. He texts me often, so that's great to know that we're in contact with him. Again, he is I wouldn't say he's a former Valley native. I think he's originally from California, but he's lived down here. Yeah, he's lived down here, and there's not a lot of people that can say that they lived down here and became top wrestling stars. You know what I mean? Yep. Currently the one that we know is Raquel Gonzalez, who's from I think I was gonna say she's from Donna, but no, I think she's from San Benito or something like that.
Hang on.
Regardless, she's doing great things right now on NXT, and I think she has a women's title match coming up. Actually, I think she's number 1 in line for against Io Shirai versus the.
Here's the thing. So first of all, Raquel Gonzalez, she is from La Feria.
There you go, La Feria.
She didn't go looking for a title opportunity. The title opportunity came looking for her.
Yeah.
Io Shirai went to Raquel Gonzalez and said, "Hey, you're next in line. I want to face you for the NXT Women's Championship to see, if she has it." And I mean, we've talked a lot about Raquel Gonzalez. We've pretty much compared her to China, and Raquel Gonzalez, she's something. She's very strong. She's very athletic. She's trained obviously in wrestling. She's a former basketball player. So she is something. You can't discount her in any title opportunity. I feel like she will become the NXT Women's Championship.
I think, it will come to fruition. You know what I mean? She obviously, her and Dakota Kai were the first NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, so it was very short lived, right? But they had been putting on killer matches, and she's been putting on killer matches versus singles opponents in general. You know what I mean? I was gonna say Rhea Ripley. Is just one of the more notable opponents that she's been killing it in the ring with. You know what I mean? And this is something that I've known even in her earlier NXT days that she was going to be something very special. You know what I mean? And if you look at her now compared to a couple years ago, she's toned it up so much. You know, physically, she's leaned out a lot. She's a big girl. You know what I mean? I would love to see her versus like Jade and AEW. You know what I mean? Because Jade is like I don't know how to explain it. Jade is just like another ninth wonder of the world if you think about it. You know what I mean? Yep. Like she is a
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill. She's just a big woman, and she's still beautiful. There's nothing. And she's very muscular, and she could probably break me with like a pinky or something like that. But that's okay. You know what I mean? Definitely. I'm hoping to see more from her as well. You know what I mean? But definitely Raquel Gonzalez. I really hope that we can get her on Armbar one of these days. Maybe just as a 30-minute interview or whatever, just to kind of interview her and just talk about like her legacy and whatnot, and what her what's going to happen and just in general. I don't know if she would do it. I know she did one of the a podcast a while back. I think it was like there's another RGV media, like a sports media thing that's down here. So if she did it for that guy, I'm sure she would do it for us also. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for sure. I'm excited about. I'm just excited in general. This year, hopefully the economy opens up a little more, and we're able to do a lot more of these events. I'm very excited again for that next RGV Sports Show. And, of course, the next WrestleFest. You know what I mean? I am really looking forward to that. You know what I mean? Once we get all the dates set up and everything like that, and once we get more information on that, we'll share it with you. But I guess, we're going to go ahead and close it out. We've been going on for about an hour already. So any mentions that you want to talk about before we close it out tonight, Mr. Jaime?
No, not to my knowledge. I think there's a UFC event also. Yes.
Oh yeah, there's a new event next Saturday, I believe.
Is a UFC. Let's see. Hang on, give me a couple of seconds. Okay, so March 27th will be pretty much the rematch. The biggest, the baddest, Stipe Miocic will be defending his UFC heavyweight championship against Francis Ngannou. This is the second time that they both take on each other. Mm-hmm. The last time that they fought was at UFC 220 back in January 2018, where Stipe Miocic won via anonymous decision and broke the record for the most consecutive title defenses for a heavyweight championship in his third. Also announced on the card. Let me go ahead and get that here. It's Alexander Volkanovski. He'll be defending his UFC featherweight championship against Brian Ortega. Tyrone Woodley and Vicente Luque will duke it out in the welterweight division. This is the main card, by the way. At bantamweight, Sean O'Malley will be taking on Thomas Almeida, and at lightweight, Kama Worthy will be taking on Jaime Mularkey. On the prelim card, it'll be at the light heavyweight, Alonzo Menifeld will be taking on William Knight. Women's strawweight, Jessica Penn. Jessica Penn will be taking on Hannah Goldie. Welterweight, Abu Bakr. I'm just gonna stop at that because he's Khabib's brother. Because it's kind of hard to pronounce your last name. We'll be taking on Jared Gooden.
A lot of international talents. Okay, it's not like easy like Conor McGregor. Okay.
It's kind of hard to pronounce these names. And the early prelim card, light heavyweight between Marisa Ukaskas. He'll be taking on Michael O, because I can't pronounce that last name also. Yeah. Jessica. At the women's flyweight, Jillian Robertson will be taking on Miranda Maverick. Featherweight, Shane Young will be taking on Oscar Morales. And middleweight, Marc-Andre Buriat will be taking on Abu Azitar. It's gonna be an interesting. Hey, it's gonna be an interesting
Yeah, your
Fight
pronunciations
card
are top tier, by the way. 7-star,
I tried.
top tier.
So it's gonna be an interesting fight card next Saturday. UFC 260. Go ahead and order it via the ESPN app, or if you want, check to see if your local restaurants
ESPN
like a Buffalo
closed.
Wild Wing,
Yeah, for sure.
they're more than likely going to be able to stream the fight. And I know that weekend will also be Jay's birthday as well, so we'll go ahead and see if we can try to make it out and celebrate with them.
Yeah.
So, yep. But I
We'll
mean,
see how
other
it
than
goes,
that, I mean,
yeah.
that's.
Yeah, I was telling him, I was like, I don't know my
that's-
work schedule until tomorrow. But yeah, for the most part, guys, thank you all for joining in today. Just big shout out to Thunder Rosa for putting on a great unsanctioned match, on AEW
Bloody
the other
match.
night versus Dr. Britt Baker, aka Adam Cole's Sugar Boo over here. You know what I mean? Great match. It was a great match, and honestly,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people, it was a little cringeworthy at times. You know what I mean? There was blood, there was tacks, there was tables, there was chairs, there was a little bit of everything in that match.
It was everything. It was everything. But
Yeah.
I mean, even Mick Foley, he watched the match and he gave it a thumbs up. And it's not very often that you see a hardcore legend, pretty much critique a match and
Correct.
just give it a thumbs up.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be honest, like this match made a lot of WWE female matches, or like at least matches like their Hell in a Cell matches kind of look like trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, not to say that WWE should be putting their talents' bodies on the line like the way they did there, but that was definitely a great story, and that story was built up to the point where it had to lead to that specific type of match. Thunder Rosa, obviously, I'm glad she got the win, because she had been kind of jobbing to Britt Baker for the last couple of matches that they had, you know what I mean? So I'm fine. I'm glad that she finally got the W, you know what I mean? And of course, shout out to La Meta over there.
All right, and that'll be it for us here at Armbar. As we mentioned, if you want to watch WWE, there's gonna be some WWE paper. There's Fastlane, NWA is having their own thing. Local this weekend, as mentioned, this Sunday, Wrestling Revolution is going to host their Night of Champions at Brewsome in McAllen.
Yes,
and also next Saturday, we have the UFC 260 event and also the Texas Wrestling League Swing Brawl, and also the meet and greet with Brian Cage. And we also talked about the RGB Sports Show, the last show that we went to, at the beginning of this month, and the next one that's going to happen later on throughout the year, and it's going to have Kurt Angle.
All right, hold on. Before we close it out, all right, I want you to read this along with me. This is going to be old school.
Oh, geez.
Just because, so we can close out the show like we used to back in the day. Let's go ahead and do it here. Right. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the ticker on the bottom. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but let's see. It's going to go around. It's going to loop around, though. So I don't know if you know it by memory, but let's go ahead and do it, okay? Hard work pays off. Dreams come true.
Dreams come true.
Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. Let's do that again. You that was an epic fell on your part, okay?
really.
Yeah, let's do it one more time. Okay, really. One more time, okay? Hard work pays off. All right, one more time. 3, 2, 1. Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true.
Bad times don't last. But bad guys do. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for joining in on tonight's episode of Armbar. Again, don't forget to smash the like button. And as always, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all soon. Okay.
Peace.
Too soon.